Hi, and welcome back to Let's Bake and Cook Stuff. Today we're making the easiest peanut clusters ever. My friend Denise, she actually used to babysit my kids, and my kids are grown in their 30s now, so that tells you it was a while ago. She gave me this recipe way back, I'm going to say, it was in the 80s. And it's simple but delicious. One of those that's just like, how could it be this easy and how could it taste this good? People ask me for this recipe all the time, and I'm kind of embarrassed to give it to them because it's really just so easy, but it's so delicious. So thank you, Denise, for giving me this recipe all those years ago. And thanks for taking care of my kids too. And so we need 2 cups. Oh, it's gonna be about 2 cups. About 2 cups of butterscotch chips. Let's see if that happens again, because this was, anyway, I thought it was more. 2 cups of just butterscotch chips. Now, I have seen other people do this with white chips, white chocolate chips, or vanilla chips, whatever they're called, and also with peanut butter chips. So you could certainly change that up if you like. I've just been doing it like this my whole life, well, since the 80s. And so, oh look, see, there were a few left on that one. So 2 cups of butterscotch chips and 2 cups of chocolate chips. Funny story, I gave this recipe to my friend Gail, and all I did was I wrote down the ingredients and put it in the microwave. I forgot to tell her that you need to stir. And she put it in the microwave, and you know how the chocolate, see how the chocolate, it stands up like that. It doesn't, when you put it in the microwave, they don't just melt down, you have to stir them. So she kept just turning the microwave on over and over and over again, and it ended up, she had them in for like over a half an hour. And they didn't have texting back then. If they would have, I'm sure I would have heard from her. Anyway, it's gonna go in the microwave for 1 minute on high. So that's 1 minute on high first. Then we're gonna stir them, and then they're gonna go in at 50% speed, 50% power for 30 seconds at a time, and we're going to stir them each time. After a minute, I'm going to stir, and then after 30 seconds, I'm going to stir, and this probably take about 2 or 3 minutes, and it's probably going to depend. It's pretty hot here today, so they probably already had a head start melting. So, but then we're going to add the peanuts, and then seriously, it's going to be the fastest, quickest, easiest dish you've ever made. And it's great to take to parties and stuff, and people are so impressed by it. I put it on my I make them every year for Christmas. I've made these every year for Christmas since 1988, I guess, and everybody loves them. And I usually at least a couple people every year ask me for the recipe, and every year I have to tell them, yeah, it's a bag of chips, a bag of chocolate chips, a bag of butterscotch chips, and some peanuts, and then you scoop them out and you wait. But I mean, it's easy, and it's look, I'm not making any apologies for it. I'm serious. They're good, and they deserve their credit. Now, also this bottom of this pan, this bowl is getting hot. So from now on, I'm going to be using a machine for, being fair with all the ingredients. So you want to stir it up. You have to do the work, and that's all you're really going to have to do, except scoop them out when they're done. I'm going to put them in the back of the microwave. This is going to be at 30 seconds at half power. And I'm going to get my oven mitts this time. Do you have any of those recipes that you're kind of almost embarrassed to share because they're just so easy? I mean, I actually have a lot. But when you're a working mom, you try to, you're trying to get dinner on the table every night. And truth is that when my kids were involved in extracurricular activities, we went out to dinner. I wasn't one of those super moms where it's like, okay, I think I can go ahead and do this and do everything, because I just couldn't. So we would ask where the kids wanted to go for dinner. You never had to ask my son Brian, because it was always pizza. I mean, don't even bother asking if you don't want pizza, because that's what he's gonna say. Okay, now you can see that this is real nice and creamy even just after a minute and a half. But again, if you did this in the dead of winter, it would take another couple times in the microwave. And there is still a few lumps in there. I don't know if you can see them. Oh, see, that's nice and ploppy, huh? There's a few lumps in there. I'm just going to stir those away because they're going to just melt with the heat of the residual heat of the chocolate. I don't want to put them back in the microwave now. Okay, and then We are going to add 4 cups of dry roasted salted peanuts. Now, again, this is something you can change up. I haven't ever tried it, but I swear every year I say I'm going to try it when I make them for Christmas with mixed salted nuts. Wouldn't that be good? I really want to do that one of these years. But I never think about it because I'm writing down my shopping list and I always put peanuts. So we're going to put 4 cups of salted, dry roasted peanuts. You could use unsalted if you choose. That's, you know, that salty bite really is nice. So if you're not trying to watch your salt intake, then go for the salted ones because they're good. Yeah, my husband Dave really likes these. I put them in the freezer. You know, at Christmas time we do a lot of baking. My whole family gets together and we bake for the whole weekend, and we bake, oh, I don't know, 20, 30 different kinds of cookies, and we make several different kinds of candies. So, you know, some fudge and some these things, and peanut brittle and all that kind of stuff. So we do that. Well, we have all that, and you know, you have to store it in the freezer. And then I make plates and I give them to my neighbors, I give them to my friends. I used to give them to my coworkers. It's a nice little gift that you can give, and it's a piece of yourself. Now, my nieces come down from Camarillo, my nieces Lauren and Candace, and every year they come down, and they're the sweetest things in the whole wide world. And then they won't even take any of them with them. Like Lauren, I can barely get her to take 1 or 2. And Candace might take, you know, a few, like, I don't know, 5. I don't know what their deal is. Maybe they don't like my cookies. If you're watching this, Candace and Lauren, is it about that? Maybe you don't like my cookies. You just come down here for the fun. All right, so watch this. Now I'm making these real big. When I do them at Christmas, I make them real tiny because I make a big tray of cookies and treats, and I want little bite size of things. So, but this is just for the middle of summer. So I am putting, let me see if I can make this so that you can see. This is an ice cream scoop, but it's one of the smaller ones. It's not I wouldn't use it, well, you could use it for a cookie scoop if you were into big giant cookies like that. I'd say it's about 1/4 cup. And I'm plopping them down. And seriously, once these are plopped down, you put them in the refrigerator. You can leave them on the counter too. You put them in the refrigerator or the freezer, 10 minutes. And you have, seriously, these are so delicious. They remind me of the holidays though too, which is funny because I usually only make them at the holidays. But I'll tell you what, I found these peanuts, which I bought at the holidays. They're still good, they're still in code. And I thought, you know what, I better put those in some peanut clusters because we're not gonna eat them. And I thought you might like to see how they're made. It's super easy, super quick, fun, something you could do with the kids. You gotta teach them how to use this scoop. Most of my grandkids, I've had a tough time teaching them how to use this scoop. Or, you know, scoop like this scoop. I don't know if they'd use this particular one because usually we're doing the cookies and they're way smaller. But yeah, I'm making these quite a bit bigger. And the neighbors will be happy because I'm going to be bringing them over to them. And actually, I might even bring these over to my former coworkers down the street too. Okay, so that was 12. Usually when I do it at Christmas time, it makes like, I don't know, like 60 or 80, I think. But they're little dinky, like a couple of bites. So I'll put this here so you can see. I want you to see how many it makes. And it's so delightful. It's so delicious. Oh, what I was going to tell you about, I put them in the freezer, and then Dave will actually go and get them and eat them right out of the freezer. And you know, they're good frozen, but sometimes I'll get one out of the freezer and then I'll let it sit on the counter for, you know, 10, 15 minutes, and then it's, you know, soft and gooey again. So, but yeah, these are good. And this makes a nice gift if you have someone having a birthday coming up and you don't know what to get them. You know, you have that person who has everything. I bet they don't have a big box of delicious homemade peanut clusters. So you could hand them that, and I bet they'd be thrilled. We have a couple of friends like that have everything. It's like, it's so hard to buy for them. And then you buy them something and you never think it's sufficient. So anyway, there you go. I'm gonna scrape this last one. I think I got one left, so it made 23. If I would have maybe scraped them a little closer, I could have gotten 24 out, so we could have got a full couple dozen. But anyway, and I'm going to flatten these out just a little. Let me show you. and I'm doing it, it's very technical technique I'm using here. I'm just gonna squish them with this. And they, you know, actually them being misshapen makes them more giver friendly, you know, or share friendly. And then people know that they're homemade, right? So they have that let's call it a rustic look, okay? There you go. And then there you have it. When these are out of the refrigerator, I'll come back and show you, but they're gonna look almost the same, but they're gonna be hardened. And, oh, I got some chocolate. They're gonna be hardened, and they are gonna be a little more dull in color. These are kind of shiny. They're gonna be a little more dull. And you'll see them in a few minutes. Thanks. Okay, they are ready. Look at those. Take them off, put them on a tray, put them in a little box, give them away as gifts. Put them on a little paper plate and hand them over to your neighbor. Whatever you want to do. I'm doing it over there.